Well, like you mentioned, Rasheed Yusuf, the chairman of the Association of Share Stockbroking Companies in Nigeria, is joining us to give us his reaction to the news about new minimum capital requirements. Thank you so much, Rasheed, for joining us on the show. But first of all, obviously, you listened to Mr. Kazobo's views on the issue, but we've seen the market struggle for the last 2 weeks. Do you think this whole issue of uncertainty about the capitalization of stockbrokers is having any bearing on the market?
Well, it does. Because to us as stockbrokers, we would like a situation where both the operators and the regulators will stop feeding into the market issues or pronouncements that will scare the investors. We believe that our efforts should be concentrated on getting the market back to its feet. There are so many investors that are interested in coming back to the market. But the more negative pronouncements that are made, the more we send out wrong signal that frightens them.
And then let's even talk about this issue of capital requirements. Yeah, Mr. Akado was saying that there really hasn't been any pronouncement yet, but obviously investors are reacting to comments made by the DG of SEC at a press conference last week, somewhat implying that there might be some new capital requirements. What are your thoughts on the whole what's the association's thoughts on the whole recapitalization of stockbrokers issue?
Again, that's what we say. Let's manage the kind of information we feed to the market. If there is a need to review our capital base, let's sit down and review it. Both the operator and the regulator sit down, look at the existing capital requirement, and see whether they are adequate or not. To us as broker, we think it is adequate. Because the 70 million was put there in 2004. And it saw the market through rising from about 2.1 trillion to 13-point-something trillion without any systemic failure. So we think that 70 is still adequate. If you take it a step further, if you look at America, from the information I have, to be a stockbroking firm, you only need $250,000, which is about half of the 70 million we are having. If you look at South Africa, it's only $500,000 that are required, which is about, again, 70 million naira. So what we have presently is competitive enough when you look at it globally. And I don't think whether you raise it or not is really a solution to the present problem we have. But if the regulator wants to discuss it, wants to review it, we as an association, we are ready to discuss with them. But let's take it off the pages of newspaper. We have a forum. Let's use that forum to discuss and agree.
Let's look at some of the issues that the DG raised. She's of the view that, well, she's expressed a view that a risk-based approach should be used. We already have some rules already guiding the operations of stockbroking companies right now. To what extent do you think this issue of a risk-based approach has been addressed with the current rules?
Again, conceptually, we are not opposed to risk-based approach, but we need to see what the details are. If by risk-based approach, what she's talking about, or what the regulators are talking about, is a system where we stratify the market, we are in for that. We are not opposed to that. Anything that will make the market develop and that will encourage investors to come to the market. We as an association and as operator in the market, we are ready to discuss with the operator. We are ready to agree on what is best for the market and move the market forward. But what we don't want, again, like we said, is a question of every month a pronouncement comes and frightening away our customer.
All right, let's talk about the volatility of the market. It's been quite volatile over the last few years. Obviously, 2009 was the lowest point. But we've seen some recovery last year, and there are hopes that this market might take off again. However, we continue to see that retail investors are still not really playing in the market. What's been your experience as stockbrokers in that regard, and what do you think can be done to really bring the retail investors back to the market?
To bring retail investors back to the market, we need to increase their confidence. The confidence is not helped if today the news that comes out, brokers are this, brokers are that. I mean, we all went through this global meltdown, for God's sake. America went through it. How many times have you had the authority there coming out and say, broker this, broker that? South Africa went through it. Kenya went through it. Ghana went through it. And they've gone past that. 2 years is enough to sort out whatever the problem is. Let's move on. The market, the investors are willing to come back to the market. The market is picking up. The market is reacting to the opportunities that are available in the market. Foreign investors are interested in coming back to the market. Now, let's see how we deepen the market. Let's see how we get our market back to the level it should be. The moment we continue to make pronouncements that increases the volatility, it frightens away both foreign and local investors. I just come back from Europe, and some of the people that spoke to me, that is exactly what they're worried about. They said, look, we've been dealing with some people in Nigeria and we're happy with them, but we keep getting this pronouncement that gave us sleepless night. So we don't know what exactly is happening. We are not saying the regulator should not do what they have to do. You will recall, 2 years ago when all of this started, we said, look, whatever reform you want to do, let us do it once and be done with it. But when you do it in piecemeal, you create uncertainty, you create the volatility you talk about, and that's what we're talking about.
All right.